Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. We are live now. Over to you, Bimbo.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, all. Thank you so much for joining us in this interactive session with University College Dublin, where we'll be learning more about the field of MA Journalism and International Affairs. Joining us today from University College Dublin is a seasoned expert from University College Dublin and the international representative for the university. We'll be learning a lot about this new exciting program. And we have today with us Professor Liam Kennedy, and I'll probably just hand over to him for him to introduce himself. And afterwards, we'll be having a quick video where we would learn a few more things. Now over to you, Professor Liam Kennedy.
Bimbo, thank you, and thanks to everyone who put this together. I'm speaking to you from Dublin in Ireland today. I'm a professor at University College Dublin in Ireland, which is Ireland's largest university. And more particularly, I'm a director of the Clinton Institute at University College Dublin, which has particular responsibility for the study of international affairs. In recent years, I've been working closely with people at CNN and other international news organizations. And partly through that discussion, we came to create what I think is a very exciting new program, and really quite a unique one, given the absolutely hands-on involvement of CNN in this program. So I want to tell you a bit more about that. But as an introduction, here's a short video that CNN has helped prepare.
For 40 years, CNN has earned its place in the world as the most trusted name in news.
I dedicate the news channel, the cable news network.
From war zones...
They're not just lobbing stuff at each other, they're trying to take each other's territory.
...to marking the most important moments of our time. Going there and being there first.
What we've seen here today, it's all a result of a conspiracy theory, and it's playing out in the streets of the nation's capital.
And now, it's your chance to learn from the undisputed news leader in the world, right in the heart of the Irish capital, Dublin. Introducing CNN Academy and University College Dublin's Masters in Journalism and International Affairs. An immersive graduate programme, combining world-class journalism education with industry-led practical training and expertise. Discover what is impacting our world, and how you can report stories objectively for a global audience. Engage with the very best of the legacy brand that is CNN and the academic expertise of University College Dublin's Clinton Institute. The Masters in Journalism and International Affairs. Your stepping stone to a career in journalism, politics, or business. You have arrived at the capstone. Come and start your journey with us.
Thank you, and now I'd like to hand back to Professor Liam Kennedy.
Okay, I'm just going to bring up a PowerPoint here, which I think should appear with us all. Let me just check that. And I think we now have that. Amy, could I ask you just to confirm?
Yep, that looks good to me.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. So you've seen the video there, folks, which is also on our website. Some of you may have seen it before, and it was prepared by CNN. And it in itself, I think, is a great demonstration of how very hands-on and involved CNN are in the Academy. So I want to tell you, and in the program that we're running in collaboration, the MA in Journalism and International Affairs. So I want to tell you a bit about that program, and then move to take some questions, which I hope you'll have as we go along. When I've done presentations like this recently. I usually do them with my colleague from CNN, Ali Reza Haji Husseini. Ali Reza is traveling at the minute, and he's still an active producer with CNN, so he's unable to join us today. But I'm introducing the materials that he would ordinarily introduce, and I'm telling you about CNN input that he would ordinarily tell you about, as well as that coming from University College Dublin. This is very much a marriage between us, and that's partly what's exciting for us. So the MA in Journalism and International Affairs. Let me just move that along. So this is, I said, a unique program. It's very new. It's the first English language master's program that CNN has co-designed with a university partner anywhere in the world. So that's very exciting for us at the university, that we were able to move into such a relationship with CNN, which is, after all, the world's largest international news organization. And the co-design part of this is really, really important. This is not an academic program that CNN, happened to have added their name to. This is a collaboration from the ground up. So we got together with CNN over a year ago, and we set about designing what would a program look like that combines world-class educational expertise and world-class news industry training, and put those together 50-50 equally, and put our resources together and put our talents together. And that's what it means by co-design and co-delivery of the program by UCD and CNN. This is a program, as we say, that directly connects the classroom and the newsroom. We want to look at theories, we want to look at methods, we want to look at the history of the news industry, but we also want to study and learn how to make news as producers, as editors, as storytellers. And how do we do those together? Well, the classroom and the newsroom have to fuse, they have to come together. And what we aim to do with this, and it's not a modest aim, is to equip new generations of journalists to report on critical global affairs of the day. That's essentially what we're setting out to do. If that's of interest to you, then we're of interest in hearing from you. So what will students gain from this? First of all, as I think I've already observed, you get access to the best practices in cross-platform journalism and international news production via CNN. You get the support of a huge range of CNN resources. I'll say more about that in a moment, including the CNN Academy Hub and the CNN News Source. You get hands-on training, not virtual training. You get hands-on audio, video, and digital production training at UCD Clinton Institute. You also get expert mentorship from CNN and UCD in the creation of a thesis. I'll say more about all of this in a moment. And importantly, for those of you who produce work that is in sync with what CNN are looking for, there will be opportunities to publish that work on CNN. So the syllabus, I won't spend too long on this because it sort of goes into quite a bit of detail if one does. I really just want to show you the structure of it. If you're interested in these courses listed, you will find a lot more detail on our website. So the structure for the academic program, we work with what we call trimesters, that is blocks, 3 blocks of time into which teaching, training, and thesis making are carried out. The first trimester is 12 weeks, and that's a mixture of academic modules and training and workshops. Trimester 2 is 12 weeks again of academic modules and workshops and training. And then trimester 3 is where you carry out a thesis, either a text thesis or a multimedia thesis. So that's the basic structure of the academic year. In terms of actual time commitment, I might add, each of those modules varies. Some of them would mean 2 hours in a classroom in a week. Some of them may mean more, may need more. It depends on whether you're focused on a seminar discussion or maybe doing something that's more workshop based, which may take longer. CNN Academy has been established for a few years now, and you will find its website very readily. This is the first page snapshot from the website, where, as it says, their goal is to empower the next generation of global journalists. Now, CNN has been involved, obviously, in international news journalism for over 40 years, but has also been involved in education in various ways for a good part of that time. A lot of that on short-term courses for practicing journalists or others. What's new about what CNN is doing now with UCD is expanding that base of knowledge into the educational format of a one-year MA program. So there's a huge amount of experience coming forward out of CNN Academy as well as a resource as we go forward to do this. This is also just a snapshot from the CNN Academy page. It gives you, I think, a pretty good impression of the kind of student productions that we anticipate will also be produced by the students on the new MA. These are all quite short productions. They were done in Academy training courses in Abu Dhabi last year. I think they're useful to look at. They're all on the CNN Academy website as a kind of gives you a sense of what students who are coming to the new MA will be doing, except in much more depth and at much greater length. These short productions were done in 6 weeks. So imagine what's possible within a year of study and training with UCD and CNN. The core trainer for CNN in the new MA is my colleague Ali Reza Haji Husseini, who is the director of the CNN Academy. And as it states here, Ali Reza has a very strong background in international news making and production. He worked for Al Jazeera English before he worked for CNN International, where he was a key producer for Connect the World with Becky Anderson, which is the flagship CNN program coming out of Abu Dhabi. Ali Reza will be present in Dublin at the Institute to direct the training and the workshops that will be carried out by CNN. Amongst the CNN guest speakers that we anticipate either coming to us physically or virtually are a number of these CNN correspondents and bureau chiefs. Some of these names may be familiar to you. And it's a very international roster of people we will be, as it were, accessing at CNN as we develop the program. So what is the CNN side of the teaching and training on the MA? Well, the CNN Academy newsroom modules at the Clinton Institute will draw on a whole range of resources that CNN has. There will be journalists, producers, editors, and others who will come to Dublin to provide hands-on audio, video, and digital training. At the same time, we will have access to many of them via live interactive seminar participations and workshop participations. We'll also be accessing the CNN Academy Hub e-learning platform, which has huge resources in terms of international news reporting and production. And also we will be able to access CNN's news source platform, which is not usually publicly available. So this becomes an immense resource for us as we teach and as we study, as we prepare theses and so on. Just some sample areas of the areas that CNN will be covering during the MA. This is only a sample; it can change, from year to year, but it just gives you a taste of the range of that. Everything from video storytelling to the writing for TV news to constructing stories on mobile platforms. Now then, combined with the CNN input, we have, of course, that from UCD, the more academic expertise and input. And the blending of these two together will be very important. So just, again, a sample of the kind of courses, the academic courses that UCD will be providing, which range from courses in international affairs and cybersecurity through to photojournalism and data analysis. The aim, of course, is that the CNN training and the UCD academic models will be integrated to provide a curriculum that will enable students not just to be outstanding practitioners in terms of their production skills, storytelling skills, and so on, but also what we would call reflective practitioners. That is to say, people who can really self-analyze and understand the issues that underpin the stories that they're covering and the international affairs context for those stories. We think that that combination is very important in today's journalism. Students will, as I said earlier, will be required to write or produce a thesis. This can take one of two forms. You can have a text thesis, that is to say, it's a words-based thesis, 15,000 words, which is a very conventional form of academic thesis, of course. Or you can have a less conventional form, which I think many students are showing interest in, which is a multimedia thesis. And that can utilize one or more media forms and platforms. And the multimedia thesis is also, I think, for students very attractive because that's where you can have very, again, hands-on CNN expertise in guidance as you put that together. Where possible, CNL will be looking for, student work that's aligned with, active stories or emerging stories within CNN, so that there are personnel, there are possibilities there of interaction as you build your thesis or build essay work during the master's program. The UCD Clinton Institute itself in University College Dublin. This is our home building. We've been there now for about 16 years. The institute is called the Clinton Institute in honor of President William Jefferson Clinton, Bill Clinton. I hope he gets well soon. You see an image here of President Clinton. The last time he visited us a couple of years ago, as he sometimes does, to meet with students and to meet with faculty and quite often give a public talk. On this case, he gave a public talk about what was happening with Brexit and the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland. So we're very honored to take the name of President Clinton at the Institute. And as I said, we have developed as an institute for international affairs, not just focused on the US, but more broadly. But we're really quite a niche and bespoke institute in that although we're in a very large university, most of our classes are of a smaller scale and they're graduate based. And we think this is important in terms of how we teach because it allows us a lot of time with our students. And this is something I think that has been attractive to CNN as well as we put this together. Our aim is not to create a very large program of hundreds of students. It's actually to create something quite small and intimate where students with outstanding ability are going to really benefit a great deal from that scale. This program is employment focused. That was the plan from the start. We live in a world where we really do, as academics, have to think about the employment aspects of the study that our students are undertaking. And for CNN, of course, this is very important too. So the program is designed very much with employment in mind. It's designed to equip students with the skills that we feel that they're going to need to move into newsrooms and other forms of news gathering and news production opportunities. And they'll have an understanding of those practices immediately because of what they've covered on the program, and they'll be able to respond and work immediately rather than come with some form of more academic abstract understanding of the issues, because they'll have had all of that training through the program. On graduation, the students will have learned skills to create and to produce multimedia journalism. We think also they will be able to think conceptually about newsmaking, what I referred to as being reflective earlier, and about the relationship to the environments of international affairs. Those are the things we want our students to be equipped with. The MA will enhance, we think, the student pathways, principally in the international news industry, but also, I think, in allied or ancillary industries and sectors. The international news industry has obviously at its core a number of very, very big organizations such as CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, and so on. But the international news production is much broader these days. It's a much more distended field of activity. If you're to look at the big international governmental organizations, the big NGOs, they all have their own media units. They're all involved in forms of news production. So we think there's a very broad terrain of employment opportunity to be understood here in relation to this course. The entry requirements to the course, Basic entry requirement is that of an honors undergraduate degree in a relevant area. Now, we do not define relevant area as a particular discipline. We do not say you need a first degree in journalism or in international affairs. Students are coming to us with first degrees in all kinds of subject matter. It's much more important that what they bring is a will, a desire, and a competence in terms of wanting to address the world of international journalism and international affairs and be able to display that desire to do so. This is why we also say, you'll see here, that applicants without the above degree qualifications, but do have relevant work experience, will be considered. So it might be that people have not completed degrees, but they have been working in communications or journalism in some form, and that might very well be a suitable pathway into this program. There's IELTS or English language requirement, as you can see here, and more details on that as well on our website. Admissions. This is a one-year full-time program. It does not have a part-time opportunity. It's full-time and it's 1 year in length. Now, currently, there are 2 points of entry to the program. That is, there are 2 times in the coming year when this program will start its 12-month run. The first one is in January. And if you were wanting to apply for a January start, so that will run January 22 to December 22, the deadline for that application is 31st of October this year. So that's not far away, a couple of weeks. If, on the other hand, you prefer to apply for the September 22 start, and that is the more usual academic year lengths, that in other words starts September 22 and runs to August, September 23, the deadline for application for that entry is 1st of July 2022. How you make that application, the forms and so on, all of that information is on the website. Suitably qualified candidates will be shortlisted and invited to interview online by Zoom or whatever suitable platform we might have. Fees and scholarship. The fee, as I say, it's full-time. Whether students are from the EU or any part of the world, the fee is the same, it's 25,000 euros. We have set up a scholarship for students to apply to. The scholarship is competitively awarded to students who do demonstrate exceptional ability. A scholarship comprises a payment of 10,000 euros. Students may either use that toward the fee, or they may use it in other ways in relationship to their time in Dublin, in Ireland. And there's more detail on all of that, the scholarship application forms, the criteria, and so on and so forth. All of that information is available online. I would also say that there are possibly other forms of scholarships available through University College Dublin. And if you're wanting to inquire about those, I encourage you to reach out to the University College Dublin Global Office and gain information about what other scholarships might be available for students from outside Ireland. Okay, so that's it. The CNN Academy, UCD Dublin. I'm very happy to take questions about any aspect of this new program.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Liam. That was very, very informative and exciting. Getting a lot of questions around, how people can join, and I will just move straight to the questions now. Okay, so the first question we have here is, I have 2 years of experience in public relations and digital journalism. Any special course which I can apply for? Is there any special course the student can apply for?
Well, there's this, obviously the MA program itself. The student would would have eligibility perhaps through the pathway that I mentioned, which is if the person in question does not have a degree, if they have experience, in this case, in public relations and digital journalism, those are relevant areas. So the student may be very much eligible for those reasons. If what the question is referring to is, are there courses within the program related to those areas? Yes, digital journalism is one of the core areas. There's a great deal of what CNN is doing in terms of training that's focused on digital production, digital storytelling, mobile storytelling. And at UCD, we also have classes in data analytics, which I think are very, very useful for anyone who wants to explore that area.
Thank you very much, Professor Kennedy. So next question is, this student wants to know the requirements needed to apply.
Well, I think I did present that briefly, but again, a lot of more information on the website. But the basic requirements are either a first degree with a suitable result, and the degree does not have to be in journalism or international affairs. As I said, it could be on a science subject area, it could be in a health area, it could be in so many areas, as long as you want to build on that and move into the study and the practice of international journalism. You need to be able to show a will for that, a desire for that, and evidence that, and so on. The other way to come forward is without a first degree, but with experience already in some form of communications or journalism in your work or in your practice in some way.
All right, thank you so much for answering that. I think that will lead to the next question. So someone with HND qualification, what are the chances of this person getting onto the program? HND in marketing, actually.
Okay, again, I would say more or less as I said, we would absolutely want to see what you've done with the first with that area of study, how well you've done, and why you would want to move forward from it. But then we would want to see what else you're bringing with you in terms of any other experience you have, and the ideas you have that you want to present to us about what you want to do. As you will see, you have an opportunity to write about that as part of the application process. And that's very important to us. We look carefully at that part of the application, not just at the first degree result. We really are looking for people we think can gain a lot from this course, but also bring a lot to it. We want students to come from different parts of the world with a huge desire to both understand the world beyond their nation, but also to report on that, to make it understandable to other people and explain to us why that's important to do. We're interested in people who have a real hunger to explain and understand the big issues in the world around us, whether that's climate change or immigration or terrorism or whatever it might be, or pandemics. These are issues that are important to us all wherever we are. And we need intelligent, resourceful people to come forward and say, I want to be able to report on this. I want to be part of the next generation who does that. And those are the folks that we're looking for.
Thank you very much, Professor Liam. The next question is, okay, Thomas asking if we get a recorded version of this presentation. Please check the chat box. I think Ami shared it earlier on for the link to check it on YouTube. So you can still watch this on YouTube again. Thank you. Then I'll move to the next question, which is, so the English language requirements, is it compulsory for those who have been taught in English language since primary school? I think it's a case study of Nigeria.
Yeah, I might just jump in on that. In general, we don't require English language for students coming from Nigeria. It's considered an English-speaking country for our purposes. Now, that is on a case-by-case basis. So there could be an instance where, having reviewed your application, we may come back to you and request it. But in general, it's not required for application to UCD, but you will still need to submit it as part of your visa application.
Thank you so much, Ami. So the next question, is there an application fee for the program?
Not that I'm aware of. I'll turn to Deirdre.
There's a €50 application fee in general, but if you apply through SIUK, that is waived. So I would definitely encourage you, any of you that are interested, your first point of contact for applications should be the counsellors in SIUK, who will help you with your application and your visa. And in that instance, the application fee is not payable.
Thanks, Deirdre.
All right, thank you very much. So sorry, I think Deepika, can you please just help reshare this link? I think a few persons are having issues checking the link.
Okay, I'll share it again. The YouTube link, right?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Okay, I think we have almost exhausted all the question. One final question here is, okay, so a student wants to know the eligibility for the scholarship.
You're eligible for the scholarship if you are offered a place on the program. It's that simple. You can apply for the scholarship that we have set up. There may be very different criteria for other scholarships at UCD, but I'm referring to the scholarship that has been set up for the program. If you apply for that scholarship, and details of that one are on our website, then you are eligible if you have been offered a place, and you can apply for that.
Thank you very much. So a couple of questions on YouTube before we wrap up the Q&A session. So a student wants to know if there are student accommodation available, and if so, how does it work?
Sure, it is available. Now for January intake, I understand all our on-campus accommodation is actually currently full. So the only option for students coming in this January would be if there are some students that move out or they're late cancellations, but it is quite unlikely that you would secure a place on campus for this January. If you're coming in September, the main advice is if you want to get on-campus application or accommodation, if you want access to scholarships, you need to apply early. So applications have already opened for next September and we are receiving applications. We usually do our first round of offers for accommodation around February or March. You need to have your offer to study at UCD before you can put yourself forward for accommodation. So there is on-campus accommodation, but the main piece of advice across the board is apply early so that you've got the best chance of securing it.
Thank you so much, Ami, for that. So one more question is, do you offer placement? Okay, someone wants to know if the course comes with a placement option.
No, there's not a placement option. This is something we discussed with CNN at a very early stage, and they decided that they didn't want a placement option. What they wanted to do, as they viewed it, was to give students sufficient hands-on training so that they would gain as much, if not more, experience than they would with a conventional placement. The idea here is that when a student is completed this particular program, if they go for a job interview in some aspect of news production, news storytelling, and they're asked, can they do something? They can only do it, they can do it as soon as they walk out of that office. They're able to do it. They don't have to be trained into it in an internship. They're being trained via the program. The access to CNN in this program is extraordinary, it's exceptional. There's nothing like it in my understanding. And if students really taken advantage of that, and not just through the training and the individual workshops, but through making a multimedia thesis, which will link them into further use of CNN resources, that is a remarkable pathway, which certainly gives, you know, those students who want to seize it great chances. The doors will be opened. It's really up to students to step up and take up those opportunities.
Thank you very much, Professor Kennedy. Okay, so we're getting a couple of questions asking if they could come into for the course with their years of experience in journalism. I think Professor Kennedy had answered that before. Yeah, your experience matters and what you're coming with and how you performed previously. So yes, you can give this a shot. They'll be happy to take this. One other question, yes. Okay, one other question is, what are the top employers post completing your master's program? I think they want to know where your students have gone to after completion of their course.
That's entirely understandable, but that's a question we can only answer next year because we're beginning this January. We don't have a program that we're just starting. This is the first entry point in January. So of course, by the end of next year, we'll know much more about that. You know, we've had other media programs, less training based, where students have gone on to work for international and national organizations, you know, including, you know, big tech companies like Google and so on. But that's previous, different master's programs. This is a new one. It begins in January. So right now it's impossible to tell which organization students will go forward into, but I would think within about 9 months we're going to know quite a lot about that, and we will share that information on our website.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Kennedy. I think a few more questions. Sorry. Okay, so for those that need support, I think there's a question. Okay, can you visit our office for further consultation and assistance? Yes, very positive. And if you check the chat box, you will see our office address there. We have offices in Lagos and in Abuja. So whichever is closest to you, you can always contact us or give us a call over the phone and we can arrange a consultation for you. Thank you so much. And okay, a couple of questions. So still question on deadline. I guess this person must have missed the time you talked about application deadline. So he wants to know the deadline for January and September intake. Then also if study gap matters, if they want to apply for the program.
Well, first of all, the deadlines are if you wish to start or apply to start in January of 22, then the deadline is the 31st of August this year. It's only a few weeks away. If you prefer to make an application for September of 22, then the deadline is the 1st of July next year. Okay, so those details are online along with all the details about the scholarships, and there will be scholarships for both those entry times. Okay, each year we anticipate having scholarships and we're trying to grow those as we can. I missed the other part, something about a study break. What, could you explain what that might mean?
Yeah, so a student is asking if having 1 year study gap matters or would affect the application, the success, yeah, or the outcome of the application.
Right. It not necessarily, by which I mean, in principle, no, but what I would be keen to know is, well, what has the student done for the year? And if students have been doing things for the year that are very relevant to this next step, then that's wonderful.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Kennedy. So Ifeolu is saying the link for the application isn't accessible, and I want to believe this is on the website. I'm not sure if we have information about this. So she said the link for the application isn't accessible.
And is that referring to the link that's currently shown on screen there?
Looks like the application directly to the university.
Sure, I would advise again that I can put a direct link in the chat as well, but probably the best way if you are interested in applying is to talk to the SI UK counsellors. They can really help with your application, make sure it comes through correct the first time. And as I say, the application fee is also waived in that instance. So we'd really encourage that route.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay, so she just clarified saying is the link on the website. So like Deirdre mentioned, would be in touch with you, or you could just call us on one of our contact details posted. Thank you. I think the final question would be, can you tell me more about post-study work visas and if this applies for students coming from Nigeria?
Yeah, absolutely. So any graduate with a master's degree from an Irish university automatically gets a 2-year stay-back visa. So the way that works, the first year is very straightforward. You just need a letter from the university confirming your graduation, which you bring into the immigration office in Dublin city centre. You then have to go back at the end of the first year and prove that you've met certain criteria. So really they're looking for at the end of year 1 that you're working in an area that's related to the degree you studied and that you're earning a minimum salary, and then it's automatically extended to 2 years. So that's a really good opportunity to work in Ireland after graduation. The fact that you're pretty much approved for 2 years means that companies are very keen to take you on. They know that they have that 2-year period to work with you to develop your skills, and then potentially they are in a position to sponsor you to stay on after that.
Thank you so much, Ami. That's very, very helpful and useful. And I think with this, we've come to the end of the Q&A session. Thank you. It's been such a very informative session. I'll probably just hand over to you, just in case you have a final words. But before then, I'll say thank you so much for everybody for joining us today. We're so glad to have you here. We'll be in touch with you at SI UK shortly so that you can get started with your application. I know you're excited. We're also excited to have you join this program probably in January and September, right? So yeah, I'll hand over to Ami and Professor Kennedy probably have one final word to pass on to the students. Thank you so much.
My only final word is that we're very keen to hear from students across the world. If you have a very strong interest in this course, as well as look at what we have online, if you would like to contact us directly, there are email addresses there to do so. I'm very available myself to have an email conversation or to connect online again if you want a one-to-one conversation. We want to learn more about the people who'd like to study this program, and we are very happy to share more information about us as well.
Yeah, and I'll just say, really enjoyed engaging with you all today, and lovely to see the enthusiasm that's coming through in the chat there. Just do bear in mind, reiterating what's already been said, if you're looking for this January, time is tight. You've essentially got 2 weeks. And I would actually put a little bit more pressure on there and say, if you are looking to apply for this January, you need to be focusing on it in the coming days. So this weekend is spent looking at the application documents that are required, putting together particularly your written work and so on, and reaching out to SIUK as soon as possible. It's 2 weeks, give or take, till the application closes for January.
All right, thank you so much, Deirdre. Thank you so much, Professor Liam Kennedy, and everybody for joining us. With this, we have now come to the end of this session. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.